Hello, Standing Stones. Hello, Gary. Hello, everybody. Hello, Science Bob. How's everybody doing? Twisted Witch, Agent Smith. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Paranormal True Crimes. Hopefully, everybody's had a great week. Hello, Luna. As everybody's sliding in, Prospecting USA. So I got a twist for you today, ladies and gentlemen. D, welcome D. Liana, Roger Blair. So I have somebody I want to introduce. Bring it on to the show. Science Bob, come on down. How you doing?
Super duper. Happy to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Happy to be on.
Missy Juju, how you doing? So introduce yourself, Science Bob. Jim's Cameron.
Well, I'm Bob McGuire. I was born in Tennessee and raised in Alabama. And when I was 18, I left and went to school and spent lots of time at Sandia National Labs, and then went and got a degree from Brown University. And then I worked in the intelligence community for 28 years, retired from there in 2010, went to work for 1 year at Oak Ridge, and I left there and became the chief scientist for a big research center at Virginia Tech and a full professor. And I retired from there in 2020 during the COVID mess.
Oh, Lord. Wow. So, yes, Agent Smith, welcome. So, Science Bob is part of the show. Want to introduce him. So, today we are going to cover Michelle Russ. So, welcome everybody to the show.
Let me add one more thing.
Yes.
And my better half is Lala.
That is correct. We can't forget her. She had no idea what was going on. So, none at all, which was hilarious. So, yeah, no Bigfoot sighting, no bear this morning. So, we're going to cover Michelle Rust. And it's a very interesting case, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you what, we'll start off the show with Exhibit A. And just let you know, make sure or see our affiliates down in the description in the YouTube channel. Click on their links when you have a chance. Who knows, you may be interested. And we do have to say this, begin the show. This is for entertainment purposes only, and all parties are innocent until proven in a court of law, right? Guilty in a court of law. So we have to say that as well. But click on the affiliates, and I'll probably drop the links here and there throughout the show on the affiliates as well. But then we're going to discuss Michelle Rust. Make sure I put the T on there. So let me share my screen and present. Agent Smith says, congratulations, Science Bob. Pleasant journeys throughout the course of your life. Blessings, kind sir.
Thank you, Agent.
Yes. So let me present, get that off here. Exhibit A here. I'll make sure here. I always forget the audio part. Let's see here. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Jamie Costello.
And I'm Kelly Swoop. Police in Baltimore County returned to the home of a missing woman in search of evidence today, more than 20 years after she disappeared.
WMAR2 News' Jeff Hager has more on the search for Michelle Rust.
For decades, police thought Michelle Rust left her home here in Arbutus to pick up items for her 3-year-old son's birthday party and never returned.
As time went on and as there was nobody heard from her, there was no activity on her bank accounts, no checks written. She was a dedicated mother, dedicated daughter to her family. She wouldn't have just disappeared, so it was pretty evident that she was the victim of foul play.
Detectives say after extensive interviews over the years, they have not been able to find anyone who actually saw Rust leave her home here in Arbutus, nor did they find anyone who saw her behind the wheel of her green Dodge Caravan.
What we think really...
In an interview with WMAR2 News last year, Rust's mother recalled learning later that day that the van had been found a short distance from her daughter's house.
We canceled the party. We knew she was missing, and everybody was just frantically looking for her. Everybody was looking, his family and our family, and his father ended up being the one that found the van.
Michelle and her husband live next door to her in-laws, and those two homes are where a team of forensic students from Towson University are now using ground-penetrating radar searching for disturbed soil beneath the surface of their yards. It's the same technology that the same group has used at 24 other sites, including Ellsworth Cemetery, just outside of Westminster, where it turned up more than 200 for Michelle Rust may not end here.
We will be searching further locations in Baltimore County and Baltimore City relating to her disappearance. Right now, we're not going to get into what those locations are, just pending the search and pending any evidence that might be out there.
In Baltimore County, Jeff Hager, WMAR 2 News.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's a brief overview. And there was a newspaper article that I received too. And it is from back from July 20th, 2002. It was posted at 7:56 a.m., February 21st, 2022 by Mark Roper. So let's make sure we give him credit. All right. It says Michelle Rust was last seen on July 20th, 2002, and her family has been without answers ever since. A lot has changed in the community since the last summer of 2002, but one thing which hasn't changed is the love of Ray and Gwen Lynn's have for their missing daughter, Michelle Rust. Michelle's father said, "Every day I think about it. Every day I go over everything, hoping I may find something." The pain of having a daughter disappear has taken its toll on Michelle's father. It's a struggle for me, really, to get by the day. I mean, I had to go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist myself. It sort of helped, but well, he told me when I first went in, it's not going to go away. You just have to deal with it the best you can, he said. Saturday, July 20, 2002, Michelle Rust and her husband, Dwight, were planning to host a birthday party for their 3-year-old son that day. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the key words. Michelle's mother, Gwen Lynn, said, "I got a phone call about 9:30, maybe 9:45, and Dwight called me and said, 'Do you know where Michelle is?' And I said, 'No. I thought she was home.' He said, 'No, she went to the store.' The family went on a search for Michelle right away. They checked several nearby Walmarts, hoping a surveillance camera may have caught a glimpse of Michelle on video, but there was no sign of the 24-year-old missing mom. As we were going to the Walmarts, Gwen got a phone call and said they found her van. Ray Lynn said, they canceled the party. Yeah, we canceled the party. We knew she was missing. And everybody, we just frantically was just looking for her. And his father, everybody was looking, his family, our family, and his father ended up being the one found in the van. And his father ended up being the one found the van, Winland said. Baltimore County Police Corporal Donald Carter said the key actually was the driver's side door broken off inside of the Caravan when it was found. The key was in the driver's side door, broken off. Remember that. Neighbors in the area questioning about what they located, but they didn't find anything. Nobody saw anything, how the van got there or how it was driven there. So it was a spot along Clyde Avenue near Zion Road in Lansdowne, a few miles from her house in Hawthorne, near Michelle's father-in-law discovered the first and only clue into her disappearance. They said, we went over there. The van was there. The cops were there. The police were there. Everything. The window was down about that far. I don't know what that far is. They looked for the keys. They went to the houses, and nobody seen anything, Ray Lynn said. Finding Michelle's 1998 green Dodge Caravan, but no sign of Michelle, brought Ray's worst fears. I mean, I just filled up. It was just natural emotion. I couldn't hold back, Ray Lynn said. Michelle's husband at the time, Dwight Rust, just declined to go on camera to talk about the case because he just thinks WMIR-2 News for looking into Michelle's disappearance after all these years. And he hopes this will help move things and help things to move things forward to help the case. Bob, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so notice that he called fairly quickly. So he must have been expecting her back quickly. And the other thing I noticed, which was really what attracted me to the story, is they reopened it after 20 years. And they just don't, they have cold case units, but they don't go all in like this without some clue. And the first thing they did was take technology that was not available in 2002, but is readily available now, and they went straight to where the couple lived. So they definitely had suspicions. I mean, look, I you know how you were a cop, you know how it is. They looked into the husband the very first set of weeks into this investigation. They obviously didn't find anything, but something gave them probable cause, because I'm sure they had to have a search warrant. And so that means something was found that it gave them a search warrant, unless the husband still lived in the house and gave them permission to come in, which would have been a good thing for him to do if they came. So anyway, we see in that news story that they were rolling. It looks like a lawnmower. So they were rolling the ground penetrating radar all across the yard, and it sends a radio signal down into the earth, and anything that's unnatural, it deflects it back and makes an image. So they were looking for a void or an opening where a body would have been placed.
That is correct. That is correct.
So it's just,
what's strange is, why would they automatically search the house, yard that quick, right?
Yeah, something. Look, they had to have probable cause to go and disturb whoever was still living in that house, to go and look with that ground penetrating radar. And so that was last May. So last May they started this. And so look, if the case is open now, let's get the psychics on it and see if we can dig up a detail that'll help them go. And there's a telephone number that you can call if we dig up anything.
Well, you know what was interesting too is that they brought up that cemetery with 200 unmarked graves.
Yep.
And they said, and they also mentioned in that news article other locations.
Yep.
So that was like, okay, and they wouldn't like mention the other locations, which I understand on an ongoing investigation. They don't want anybody else to go know, or probably the suspect, if they know who they think they're onto, right? They don't want them to know where they're going to go search.
Several other things stand out. They didn't interview the husband for the news story. The parents, her parents, didn't mention the husband in the story. He is innocent until proven guilty, but all of those are red flags for me.
Now, who found the van?
His father. Her father-in-law found the van. And you know the kind of you know the kind of places they're going to search, Grizzly. They searched every possible place that the husband and the father worked or had access to, etc., including that graveyard, to see if somebody had been stashed in a grave. And you know they were shocked to find 200 unmarked graves. She could be in any of them. And also all the other places where anyone associated with her could have taken her body.
That is correct.
It just was not gone long enough for this to be a stranger kidnapping.
No, it's just very strange how she went to the store allegedly, right?
Yeah, because their 3-year-old had a birthday that day.
Right.
And they were having a birthday party.
Right, Standing Stones. A lot of mentally ill patients in hospitals were potentially buried in unmarked graves. That is correct. So, but no, there's no mention of cadaver dogs. That is correct, Tammy.
There were no cadaver dogs. Yep.
So, but there was no mention of anything in any news articles that I read regarding about the husband.
Nobody mentioned a word anywhere about the husband in anything I could find.
So
it was a birthday party for their 3-year-old.
But what's weird though, and one of the things that I question is that who called who and was like, oh, well, she ain't here. I thought she was where?
Shopping.
Yeah.
At the store.
So Cliff, the way the news read that she left home alone is what I'm assuming.
And her husband and father of the child was at home with the child.
That is correct. That's the way I'm looking at it.
That's the way it reads. Now we're making logical conclusions, but just understand these are logical conclusions. We don't have it in writing.
Right.
So we definitely don't want to bias these psychics. We want them to come in with wide open, minds clear, and no minds made up.
Yeah, because they don't even know who we're doing the case on right now. They have no clue until after the show's over. Because the only thing they're going to get is just a picture of her and no name, no nothing.
Right.
So, but that's the thing, Dean. She never went to the store. They went to Walmart's and everything. And if you remember the news article, and yeah, they went to look at security footage, and the father-in-law found the van not even a mile or two in the area, and the key was broken off in the driver's side door. Remember,
passenger door,
or the passenger door. Thank you for correcting me.
That was so weird. Broken off in the passenger door, and that meant that was so they would overlook it for a while.
Oh yes, Tammy Johnson, I do remember, and that. And I can tell you those are the worst calls I always hate going to was domestic violence cases.
Oh, you can't ever tell what you're walking into.
No, you don't.
And half the time, according to the cops I know, my family's full of cops and so forth, the victim defends the perpetrator.
Yes. He loves me. She loves me. He won't do it again. She won't do it again. Yes. That is true. I heard that. She said, I love you in the background. I got headphones on. Was there anyone talking to her on the side? Nobody says anything, Joe. That's it. That's the only thing we have. Now you got to remember.
Hello to everybody.
Lala says hello to everybody. You got to remember, Joe, the case is 21 years old, and evidently they reopened the case and they went back to the house and they're doing forensic testing. So now, bleach and chemicals, a lot of people think you can conceal and remove forensic evidence. That's not true, ladies and gentlemen. So
time has marched on and science has gotten better.
D says she was murdered before the call was made and she was missing. I fell through peeping Vol. That's probably true. Tammy says, hello, la la. So, but what's strange though is that when you look at the totality, and Tammy Johnson knows what the totality is everything as a whole, right? Yep. It's strange that the husband, all parties are proven innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Yep.
All right. I'm not trying to, point fingers to anybody, but it's just like, playing dumb. What do you mean? She ain't here. I thought she's there. Was she shopping or something? I don't know. Usually when you're married or with somebody, you usually, hey, honey, I'm going to the store. I'm going to be back. No, she went to the store. What are you going to the store for? I mean, usually, general things because you communicate. That's just the norm during relationships. Now, I know some people are like, well, there are defined norm, right? What is normal? Okay, I understand that because everybody's not normal on totality of circumstance. Right, Tammy? Sometimes I forget I use jargon. People are like, Grizzly, break it down. So yes, Tammy. So I try to forget, and yes, that is correct. But you know, when Bob brought this case in forward, and I thought it's a very good case to look at. It's a very sad case. Yeah, it's a very sad case because you know it's how it just mysteriously she disappeared. And then, you know, back in 2002, GPR's ground penetrating radar was not. You just didn't call up the local PD and like, hey, I need your GPR units.
No.
You know, every department just didn't have them. Usually it was the colleges and stuff like that had them. Am I right, Science Bob?
They were just being made miniaturized and enabled around 2000. So they just had not penetrated forensics departments.
So yeah, so saving stones, yeah. So that was weird too. All those unmarked graves, something county did not know of. So yeah, it was close to where she lived. So that was another question that I looked at when I looked at the case too, is like, you know, did they like accidentally find these and they put up all these crosses? And so but you can tell how long soul has been disturbed by the color and the density, and that's where Bob can come in and he can test to that.
And basically what they would see if she was laid out in the dirt, maybe in a cloth or whatever, is that they would see the shape of a body underground because there would be a void.
Yes, Dee. She actually did have a picket fence around. I think it actually showed it in the news clipping.
They did. The news cameras looked over the picket fence to the crime scene investigators running the ground penetrating radar.
So yes, party supplies. Cliff Jones, was it on a weekend? Just trying to work out if her husband went through the weekdays.
I don't recall.
That I don't know. Whatever that day was, I have to go look on somebody has to look on their phone, and it's easier to look on your iPhone or your cell phone to look at the calendar because you scroll back to that date and see. Cadaver Dog needs to pick up on the older and graveyards, no embalming fluid, right? Yes, that is true. Yeah. A lot of people do not know that, Tammy.
Well,
Tammy knows.
Won't keep the body from, going back to dust, and that's
decomposing, right? Bones by now. Oh, but it's interesting that they're going to the house to look for forensic evidence. Like I said, a lot of people think household chemicals that you buy will remove trace evidence, and that's not true.
No, I mean that and people know about luminol. But there are much better tests now for blood. You cannot get it all up with Clorox.
Cliff Jones said, just checked. It was Saturday. Yeah, it was recent. So technology has come a long ways, right? Very long ways.
Very long way.
A lot of things they can test that they couldn't test. That's why
just the DNA test. It's become a miracle, and it has gotten a lot better. They can take a tiny little speck of DNA now and make a match.
Yes.
And the other thing is, these serial killers, the Golden Gate Killer out in California, they had just the tiniest bit of DNA from him, and they found him because they searched through all of his relatives who had done DNA tests, and they let the computer say, whoever it is related to all these people. And that's how they found him. We've gotten so good at this.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. So what's your all's take, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, Nana Boss, welcome to the show. Nice to have you. Standing Stone. So she went to the store to get supplies for the child's birthday party. Was the party next day? No, it was the same.
They were waiting on that.
The same day.
And the grandparents were going to come over. So they said they canceled the party that was supposed to be that day. And you can
Yes.
tell her poor parents, they are never going to get over it.
So, well, Tammy Johnson. So, our minds thinking along the lines because of law
It's
enforcement.
the most likely, it's the most probable answer, but we have to keep an open mind.
But
And we don't want to bias the psychics.
right. But what's very interesting is that, I didn't see him in any of the news outlets begging,
That's just
where is
nuts that he
she?
would not be out there in front of the camera begging.
No,
for help.
none at all.
I
Showing the
guarantee
kids
I would
off.
be.
Yeah, innocent till proven. I agree. But it's just strange, right? Because the more you look at it and the more that an average person thinks about it, the more red flags comes up and starts ticking and waving. It's just like, so that's why they went back to the house, because evidently there was more things that technology wise just came available, and maybe fresh eyes looking at the case, maybe somebody combed through it and found something or tested something that they were able to do now to go back and validate stuff. So
Yep.
it's right, Eric. I would be too. So, but it's going to be interesting. Yeah, the van was close to the house, less than, 2 miles or less, wasn't it, Science Bob?
Say again?
Less than 2 miles from the
Yes.
house?
No, it was very close to the house. Left in a neighborhood close to the house.
Yes.
It wouldn't have been hard for them to find because it was left so that people would find it.
That's the way I look at it. That's exactly how I looked at it. Because it was just awful convenient. Now, the only thing that I question was it didn't say Joe. That was weird. It didn't nothing about the husband was documented.
I think he worked. No, it was. And so one of the articles, his father had a business installing appliances and working on air conditioners, and he worked with his father.
Now, I must have missed that one. That's
it was
interesting.
in another one of the articles.
Okay, because I read 4 or 5.
I really checked it thoroughly, Grizzly.
Okay, good. Yeah, because one of the things I went over in my mind over and over, hey, Barb Hartman, welcome to the show, was the key in the passenger door broken off.
That's really suspicious.
What did that symbolize? Was that a setup? Was that somebody frankly trying to get in or I don't know. I don't know what that meant.
Well, you certainly would, if you're the guilty one, you certainly wouldn't want to be found with the key. So why not break it open the lock and toss the remnants into the drain?
That's true.
The part you touched, you want it gone.
That's true. Yeah, I do agree, Joe. I think the van, it feels staged too. That's my professional opinion. Especially that close to the house. Yeah.
Definitely staged.
So, yeah. Yeah, Tammy, I think he was a nervous wreck and accidentally broke it. It couldn't have been. I've seen people like that. I've seen people that couldn't dial 911, ladies and gentlemen. And that's hard to believe. So, yes.
Well, panic is a mean animal.
Hey, Facebook user, welcome to the show. So what we're going to do is we'll take this information and we will forward it to the panel after the show and let them know. And what we'll do is, like we usually do, and for the picture only. It's the only thing we'll send them, nothing else. And we'll do like we did last time. We'll just bring them on and let them do their little insight. And then we'll cover the case again in front of them and let them and see how they resonate with the case.
Yeah, I showed nothing to Lala. She didn't want me to anyway. She didn't even know I was sending it to you.
Yeah, Lala didn't know. Lala didn't know Bob was on the show tonight. Because she was like, what do you mean a show? What show? I'm like, nothing. Yeah, she was confused. She's like, show. I was like, nothing.
If you're going to do this, we all have to be ethical.
That's right. So, now apparently I'm cool under pressure during extreme camping situations. That's what I heard. Well, hey, Nana boss, I'm not trigger happy. I've been told that many years over and over. But anyway, that's another story for another show. But yeah, but we'll do that. But don't forget, if you haven't liked or subscribed, wrong side, down here. Oh, wait a minute. Over here. Click down there. Hit the little button and follow us. I got my super things back up and running. So thank you all. I'm sorry it was down.
Question I need to answer.
Absolutely.
Lala's not here. She and her son have gone out.
So, yeah. So she stopped in and said hello. So, but yeah. But no, absolutely. But Tammy Johnson, I want to give a shout out to her. She's law enforcement as well. I think she's actually is going to have a case for us probably, and forward something for us to review too. So, and hopefully we can get that on the show as well. We got some other cases too. I'll probably send to Bob and have him look at as well. For the key to be snapped, there's got to be a lot of force to snap it to the key, check for filing, like there was sawed off. Now, Joe, there are so many things that there are questions that there's not answers to. But the department, from what I've seen from the news articles and for the media releases, was very hush-hush. They didn't, what you saw is what we saw pretty much similar to the other news releases, the media outlets.
Yep.
So to me, it was focusing on one person, in my opinion. That's why we didn't see somebody like Bob said on the news.
And they had a professional public relations person come out and speak at the end of the driveway. That was not a news reporter. That was a police professional person. And they gave away nothing. And none of the investigators talked to the news people. That's a good department.
Yeah. Now, when I was the spokesperson for my department, the reason why I was a spokesperson is because how I articulate things and how when they drilled me, I knew how to answer and respond under pressure.
Yeah.
So I knew how not to divulge any information and how not to get tripped up. So that's why I was chosen. And so, but so I know how that stuff works. Because if you're not careful, you can get tied up real quick and you can start slipping and start answering people's questions.
You can ruin a case. You can let out evidence that you want to keep hidden.
So, but it'll be interesting too if before the next show, if we get any updated information, because even Science Bob and I said, because if we get information from the psychics, we'll make the phone call. We're not afraid.
No, we'll call them up. They're local. They're in Baltimore.
So yeah. So D, as close partner, my late husband would know why I was going to the store for. That's exactly what I said earlier. That is just common courtesy.
Actually, he knew she was gone to get party supplies and just disappeared.
Yeah, but playing dumb's the part that got me.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean? That's one thing I didn't get.
No, me either.
So we'll figure out, ladies and gentlemen. So tune in for next week. We'll have it in front of the panel. And welcome Science Bob. So take care, ladies and gentlemen. Godspeed. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.